2022 was a year of immense change for myself, and most of it is self-inflicted. As you may or may not know, I uprooted to move to Japan, and honestly, this has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life, and it has done wonders for my creativity and the work that I create. But going into 2023, I wanted to take a look back at all those that inspired me throughout this massive period of change in my life, and other photographers and artists whose art and whose work will carry me forward as I continue on my path of growth in this passion, this hobby, this career, whatever you want to call it. I made a short list of, I guess, my top influences from this year. The artists, the photographers, and just the people who inspired me to pursue street photography and try new things, and as well as those who helped me learn and kind of shape my eye to develop my own style, which is still not even close to being developed, but I'm a lot further ahead now than I was this time last year, thanks to a lot of the people on this list. I put the people on this list into 4 categories. The first category is legendary photographers. The second category is famous photographers. The third of which is people I know, like friends of mine who inspire me, those who push me to be more creative. And the fourth is people who aren't photographers, painters, musicians, and other artists who go outside of the mold and who I consider to be deep influences on myself. And as difficult as it was, I tried to only put 3 people in each category because if I talked about everyone, this video would be hours long and no one would watch it. The first, I guess, legendary photographer that I consider to be a massive inspiration on my work is Joel Meyerowitz. If you have any knowledge about street photography, you know Joel Meyerowitz is of the most legendary, of the most world-renowned street photographers. And there is certainly a reason for it. He was one of the first photographers to use color seriously back when street photography, documentary photography, black and white was the only respected form of the art. But branching out of that, he has done some magnificent work on, 8x10 sheet film. He's done amazing still life photography. He's just extremely diverse, and his eye and the way he sees the world just blows my mind. If I ever find myself in a bit of a slump or I need a little bit of a boost, I like to listen to his talks that he's done with Leica, the interviews that he's done, all of which are available on YouTube. And I will link one or two of my favorite ones in the description so you can listen to them as well. The second legendary photographer that really inspires me is Daido Moriyama. Daido Moriyama is one of those untouchable but accessible photographers, I guess. He's extremely renowned here in Japan as being one of the most serious, one of the most respected, one of the most talented photographers here. And he didn't use equipment that was out of the reach of the average photographer. He used Ricoh point-and-shoot cameras. And even now he uses older digital point-and-shoot cameras. And I think that's what makes him really stick out to me. And that's also partially the reason I bought the old Ricoh digital point-and-shoot camera that I made a video about back in August. Extremely talented at showing a very gritty side of Japan. His photos are extremely contrasty with lots of grain. The composition, he doesn't worry about it. He just takes the photo and thinks about it later. The third legendary photographer on my list is Anton Kusters. Anton Kusters is just incredible documentary photographer, and one of my favorite works of his is the Odo Tokyo Yakuza, and it's about the Yakuza, the organized crime families in Japan. And he was welcomed into this very restrictive, very secretive organization, and he captured some of the most powerful work that I have seen in terms of documentary photography. And one of my biggest goals is to create a body of work powerful and meaningful enough that it's sold on the same shelf as his. The second category is for people I would classify as famous photographers, people that if you say their name in a crowded room, a few people will know exactly who you're talking about. So the first of which is Jason Kummerfeld. If you know him, he's a YouTuber. His YouTube channel is Grainy Days. He's a massive influence on me when it comes to, I guess, more still life or landscape photography. The way he looks for compositions has strongly shaped the way that I look for compositions. And there's honestly not a lot I can say about his work work that hasn't already been said. He's a phenomenal photographer and a great entertainer. I highly recommend you check out his channel. The second famous photographer that I take most of my influence from, I would say, is Faisal Westcott. He's a phenomenal YouTuber and he makes incredible videos for those looking to get into street photography and looking to improve their street photography. The way that he uses reflections and the way that he looks for compositions in, I guess, more unorthodox ways is a direct influence on the way that I use reflections in my work. The third photographer on my famous photographers list is Tatiana Hopper. She produces some incredible still life and landscape photography. I found her YouTube channel quite a while ago. She makes incredible videos about the theory of photography. One of my favorites of hers is her Silver Screen series. She covers famous actors, movie stars, and people in Hollywood that you may not know are very talented and passionate photographers. She produces some of my favorite work out of everyone on this list, the way that she isolates her subject, and I find her work just has a very painterly quality. All right, category 3, people I know. I have a strong bias for my people in this category, so bear with me. So the first photographer on this list is, without a doubt, my friend Andre. Andre is just an incredible portrait photographer. Andre is a wedding photographer by trade, but his creative work is the work that really inspires me. The way that he can turn portraiture into fine art just boggles my mind. The way that he can look at a subject and know exactly how to make that subject stand out in the most painterly and just beautiful way is deeply inspiring to myself. And even just chatting with him, he's just such a stand-up guy. So fun to be around, and he's definitely one of those friends that pushes you to do your best and think outside the box. The second photographer on this list is my friend Benoit. And the work he produces is just, there's no other word for it but clean. I find that every photo he takes just needs to be printed. I find that both his landscape and his commercial work have a very just clean theme to them. And you could pick any photo out of his hard drive and it would look amazing in a print. And if you know me at all, the last photographer on this list is no surprise. It is my dear best friend, Austin Knibb. Austin is an extremely versatile photographer and videographer. It seems the man can do anything. And growing my skills beside him has been one of the best experiences in photography and videography so far. And he really encompasses the philosophy of bring your camera everywhere. He takes photography as seriously on a job as he does on vacation. His creative brain is always on, and I don't know how he does it. But like I said, I'm very biased on my friends list. And the last category is just other kinds of artists, painters, designers, and just non-photographers that have influenced the way that I see compositions and colors and just whose work that I think of when I'm out shooting. The first of which, as you may already can guess, is Edward Hopper. The man that needs no introduction, Edward Hopper was an incredible painter, and the way that he composed his images using light and shadow to guide your eye is exactly what I use when I do the same. If you have never heard of Edward Hopper and you're a photographer, I think he is a must-know on your list, and his work might impact you in a very similar way and show you a very interesting way to look at composition. The second on this list is Utagawa Hiroshige. Hiroshige was an ukiyo-e artist, which is Japan's extremely distinct woodblock printing style. The way that he positioned his subject has influenced my use of foreground subjects very strongly. You'll be hard-pressed to find any work of his that doesn't have subframing in it. Utagawa Hiroshige's prints taught me a lot about subframing. And the last one on this list is more of an abstract thought. It's a musician. One of my favorite genres of music is Japanese city pop. It was a very distinct 1980s pop music style here in Japan. It was very short-lived. It was only prevalent for a handful of years. And the most prevalent and well-known city pop artist is Tatsuro Yamashita. When I listen to his music, I don't know why, but something in my brain clicks and I don't take it too seriously anymore. It allows me to feel a lot more fluid when I'm out shooting. And remember that I'm doing doing all this because I like it. I have no paycheck waiting on the other side of each of these videos or each of my photos, but I do it because I love it, and it's an art style that I'm very passionate about and I hold very dear to my heart. And I can't explain it any other way, but when I listen to his music, it makes me feel that way. And that is a very rare and very important way to feel about your work. I don't really have a cool outro or elegant way to end this video, so I hope learning about my influences and inspirations will help you stay inspired and ready to create this year. So happy 2023, and I'll see you in the next one.